Good morning. It is 7:03. It's a happy Friday. Just jumping on a little early like I tend to do to get everybody get a chance to get their coffee and have get ready for a great discussion today on relationships. Ooh, I'm looking forward to this. I want you to know I've really done my research on this particular topic and looking forward to a great discussion. I hope whether you're watching me live now or you're watching it later today, make sure you jump in the chat and let me know what you think. Make sure that you share the information with me. I'm always excited to hear back from everyone about great relationships or just hear about the topic that we've talked about today. Before we get started, I do want to make a note about what's going on and what we've witnessed with the suicide of DJ Twitch. Very sad. And I just want to share that you never know what people are going through. You never do. And that is why it is so important to be kind to people. You never know what a smile or a kind word is going to do for someone who's really struggling. So I just want to encourage everyone that if you know someone and you see changes, reach out to them, speak to them. Be kind to everyone that you possibly can be kind to, and just sending prayers out to his family, friends, his followers. Just wanted to say that. Good morning, Renee. Hello. So I just wanted to send that out. Just make sure that you love on people, check on them, give them their flowers while they're here. And again, if you need help, if you're feeling depressed, if you have feelings of loneliness and isolation, reach out to a friend. Call a suicide hotline. It is never, you're not in it by yourself. Hit me up, inbox me. I am more than happy to talk and navigate with you. I just want to let you know that I'm here for you. Okay? Well, it is 7:05. Good morning. Yes, Renee, be nice. You just never know what people are going through. And so today's topic is on relationships. Oof. Now, let's just say, I want to be clear, I am not a relationship expert, but I like to think I am, but I'm not. But I do know that through my growth, good morning, Sharon. I do know through my growth what I've learned about myself and what I've learned about relationships. And honestly, let me get my notes together. Relationships, whether they're romantic or platonic, are key foundations for a healthy life. And so research does show that good relationships help people live longer, deal with stress better, have healthier habits, and have a stronger resistance to colds. I guess that's why people try to get booed up in the wintertime, I guess. In a 2010 review of 148 studies, researchers found that social relationships improve lifespans, and that the quality of a relationship is the biggest predictor of our happiness, more so than business success, physical health, wealth, status, or fame. So it's important to know that relationships have this key part in our lives. And so we want to make sure that we have healthy relationships because they add to our lifespan. And so Jamie Weisberg, founder of the Northbound Coaching and Consulting and facilitator of the Thrive Wellbeing series, stated that emotional and having the support of others, feeling connected and having a sense of belonging elevate feelings of positivity and self-worth, and then thereby contributing to our happiness. And she says that there's also a neurochemical process that unfolds when we're in relationships. So not only does it meet our needs emotionally, but chemically in our brain, that there's a process unfolds that when we are in relationships that to others that are very calming, it builds trust, it soothes our nervous systems and buffers the stress response. So again, it's very interesting to find that not just does it feel an emotional need, but it also changes our brainwaves. It's a chemical response. And so when I was thinking about my topics, I saw a post from one of my favorite people in the world, my sister, Deshawn Anderson, that said, are you trying to have a transformational relationship with transactional people? And I was like, that is a wonderful statement. So it piqued my interest. It made me really look into the matter more deeply. So, and then also from the perspective of a mind-body connection. Oh, good morning, April. Yay, good morning. Good morning. I'm glad you can join me live too as well. So what is a transactional relationship? A transactional relationship is based on reciprocity and needs. In a transactional relationship, both parties expect to receive something in return for their investment. Now that sounds like a business arrangement. It doesn't sound like a relationship, does it? I'm like, well, I expect something in return. But the truth of the matter is that we all have transactional relationships in one form or another. And there's nothing really wrong with that. But if the emphasis is on giving and receiving more than love, care, trust, and the connection, you may end up being very disappointed and lonely. So how do you know if a relationship that you're in is overly transactional? Again, some relationships are transactional, and that's not too bad, but it becomes a problem when it's overly transactional. So here are 4 signs that your relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic, is overly transactional. The accent is on getting, not giving. And so a transactional relationship is focused on self-benefits. It spins around the question, what do I get out of this? Let's say that again. A transactional relationship, the first concept is the accent is on getting, not giving. What do I get out of this? And the bond is typically broken when one party fails to keep their end of the deal. And as a result, the relationship is unstable and it can't be broken. And so have you ever dated somebody and it's the concept of me, what am I going to get out of it? That's very draining because there's no validation that you're even in the relationship. I've been there, done that, where the relationship was all about what they could get from me and not what they poured into me. And that's not just a romantic relationship. I've had friends that I thought were friends that was very much, what can I get from Tracy? The second way that the relationship is overly transactional is both parties have expectations, whether they're looking to gain power, status, money, legitimacy, or something else. Now think about that. Both sides have expectations. So let's be clear. There's nothing wrong with having an expectation in a relationship. Those are called boundaries. If I say to you, well, I don't want you to smack me, or I don't want you to talk mean to me, you can have expectations in a relationship, but what we're talking about here is the gain of something at the other person's expense. Let's say that again. That this gain is at the other person's expense. So someone may want to gain power, they may want to take your money, they may want to stay in your house, whatever. But that is the difference. So both sides have expectations. The third way you know that it's overly transactional is the focus is on the benefits. I've always hated, well, we're just friends with benefits. Unless somebody's coming with a dental plan, that's not a benefit. But anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on that. Transactional relationships are based on giving and taking. Because those relationships resemble business connections, there's a greater emphasis on what's on the table and what the person can gain from the deal. So when you're in a transactional relationship, again, the emphasis is on what do I get out of it? What's in it for me? And what can I gain? So if you do something for me, what am I going to gain out of the situation? And again, this isn't just romantic. This is friendships as well. Transactional relationships can lead to resentment and disappointment because there's no reciprocity to the partner's goals, and then your expectations don't match up. Number 4 is there's resentment. Transactional relationships can be difficult because the partner's goals can conflict. And I'll give a realistic, simple, like talking about myself. It is that I want to be in a serious monogamous relationship with you, but you want to play around. Those are two separate goals. And so if we have two separate goals in this relationship, then we are never going to be on the same page. So then it automatically, by default, becomes a transactional relationship, because my goal is not going to get met in this relationship. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Jump in the chat. Let me know if you're resonating what I'm saying. Is that, and then I become resentful because I'm not getting my needs met. But that's because it's a transactional relationship. We're not on the same page. We don't have the same goals. If I want to get married, if I want to have children, which I don't, but if I did, and then my partner is telling me that, or the person I'm dealing with is telling me that they can't meet that need, then it's a transactional relationship. We're just benefiting off of each other transactionally, because we're never getting to that point of what we're getting. We're on the same goal. We want the same thing. And then what ends up happening is you get resentment. And so, in addition, if a partner gives too little and they increase their indebtedness to the relationship, then that leads to more anger and more resentment. So tell me what you think about those. How do you know that you're in an overly transactional relationship? Have you ever been in one? And what I'm saying resonating? I know, again, I can relate because I've been in overly transactional relationships. And why do you really get into transactional relationships? And I can only speak for myself. I got in transactional relationships because transactional relationships, let's just keep it gangster, they're easy. Transactional relationships don't require you to work on yourself. They don't require you to go deeper. Transactional relationships just fulfill basic needs, and they don't really scratch the surface of what you really need. And so then you get mad at yourself because now you're settling. Am I talking to myself? This is me. I was in transactional relationships because I wanted to get some basic needs met, but then when those deeper needs showed up, I resented that person because I wasn't getting that need met. That's because I was settling and I wasn't willing to step out and do the hard work and say, this is what I need, this is what I expect, this is what I have to be in this relationship. So why do you settle for transactional relationships? Well, we settle for transactional relationships because we don't want to get hurt, or we buy into the myth that I was talking to that's right, fulfilling the temporary need. Amen. Amen. So we fall into these transactional relationships because we fall into some of these traits that we say, okay, well, I'm only in this relationship, there's no good men left, and so I have to share this man with somebody else. Or, just other misnomers that are out there that feed that insecurity that we have, that we're not worthy of getting a relationship. You are beautiful, smart, and intelligent. You are worthy of having a transformational relationship. And if you don't believe that about yourself, then you're never going to get it, because you're going to keep settling. So what is a transformational relationship? A transformational relationship is based on intimacy and collaborative negotiation that can change you, can help you become a better person than you think you can be or think you are, enlarge the love that you feel toward your spouse or your friend, create a more meaningful life than what you expected. And I just think that's beautiful. And I've been blessed. I have these kind of transformational relationships with some of my closest friends, and I'm understanding now what that requires of me. It requires me to give more. It requires for me to step out on faith and really believe my own worthiness. That was one of the biggest hindrances to having a transformational relationship with myself, is I just didn't believe I was worthy. Maybe I'm the only one. So a transformational relationship is based on the mental desire to see the other person succeed in all areas of their life. No competition. When you win, we win. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, you are in this transformational relationship. Again, this isn't just with men. This is with, or a partner. This is with your friends. My girlfriends, Sharon, Renee, Angela, when they win, we win. I'm in the background. I don't have to be next to you. I'd be in the background. Hey, girl, get your thing. That's what transformational relationships are. That's transformational love. So, thank you, Sabrina. Yeah, when you win, we win. I want us to win together. So there is good news that you can learn how to build personal and professional relationships that are based on these transformational relationships. And so there's 5 steps. First one is to change your focus. Yes, ma'am, when you win, we win. It's only natural to put yourself first. After all, we're biologically wired for survival. We've talked about that in previous weeks about one of our biggest fears is survival, is not to be extinct. So the ability to survive is a very natural, innate need. And so thinking about ourselves is it's biological. But in order to have a transformational relationship, you must be able to include the thoughts, needs, and consideration of your partner's friends' feelings. It's a balance. And that's why the self-work that we talk about, the going in, the doing the hard work, the digging out the mess, the resolving the trauma, the changing the perspective of yourself. Good morning, Anita. That's why that is so important, because in order to have a transformational relationship, you first must transform yourself. In order to have a transformational relationship with others, you must first be able to have that transformational relationship with yourself. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night, and we were talking, and we both said it's very interesting that we expect other people to come complete to a relationship, but then we don't. We expect for people to bring to the table all the things that we want, but we're not bringing anything to the table ourselves. So I used to tell Sharon all the time, a guy driving a Jaguar doesn't want a sister on a bus. He wants you to match his hustle. It's the same thing about changing your focus in a transformational relationship. In order for you to be transformed and have that ability to love and have this intimacy and collaborative negotiation together, you first have to do the work and have that level of intimacy and negotiation with yourself. Can't give what you don't have. Okay. So because we're hardwired for selfishness, that can spell disaster. And that's just not in a relationship, that's on a work team, that's in your family, even on national politics. We can see that happening every day in politics. But the antidote is very simple. Change your focus from me to us. What's going to benefit us? How are we going to do this? Employ realistic expectations from the relationship. In reality, you cannot expect a love relationship to be on cloud 9 forever. Oh, we're just always happy, just skipping through the meadows. Oh, look at us, we never fight. Really? Or you can't expect your partner or your friend to always make you happy. You can't expect the other person to be perfect, and you can't expect to live in perfect harmony. Those things just are not real. Realistic expectations in a relationship, in a transformative relationship, is what makes the relationship solid. I can't expect my partner to make me happy if I'm first not happy myself. I can't expect my partner to meet my needs if I'm not able to communicate effectively what those needs are, because I don't know what my needs are. And it's just unrealistic to think that every day of a relationship is sunshine and roses. You're going to fight, you're going to have disagreements, because you're two different people. And so in order to have a transformational relationship, you first must be able to understand that what's realistic. There are going to be days. Now, you can set rules to say, like, well, we're never going to go to bed mad at each other. That's a nice rule to have. But you also have to have rules to understand that my partner's not going to be able to meet all my needs. He's not going to be able, or he or she, or my friend, it can't make me happy. A lot of that, again, is internal work. So set expectations, have realistic expectations for the relationship. Number 3, accepted people are different. And as simple as it sounds very simple, but we often expect people to see things our way and think like us. And when they don't, we get confused and upset, and we can't understand why they don't understand us. Now, I will say this. I've felt that way a lot in relationships, but that's also because I was not a very good communicator, and I wasn't able to communicate what I wanted because I didn't really know what I wanted. But in every relationship, whether it's work, intimate, best friends, whatever, is you have to expect for people to be different. And that's especially true when it comes to male-female communications. You know, we can, despite all I talk about equality and males and females being equal, which is very true. We are very equal, especially when it comes to pay. We are still very different. And so to expect us all to think alike and act alike just isn't fair. You're setting yourself up for failure. So the sooner you accept and realize that people are going to be different, but you also open up the door to allow those differences to come in, that you're willing to communicate about those differences, you're willing to accept and say, you know what, my famous thing to say is we're just going to have to agree to disagree. We're not going to see eye to eye on this particular subject, but yes, that we think differently and allow for those thoughts to be heard and expressed, even if you don't necessarily agree with them. But realizing that we're going to be different, and the less time, and when you do that, when you accept that you're going to be different, you come with different perspectives in the relationship, friendship, you stop wasting time on trying to make that person think and be like you. So that's a time suck. It's a time suck. If you focus on your energies to trying to bridge that communication gap naturally through communication through communication, it makes the relationship stronger. That's what makes it a transformational relationship. Jump in the chat. Let me know if you're following me. If you have any questions about anything I'm saying. The fourth way that you know you have to have a transformational relationship is break the relationship routine. You know, and when I saw this, I thought about this, and I thought, if you ever had when you first start dating somebody and you're like, oh, you just begin a relationship, you're all excited and you want to talk to them every day, and you just can't wait till you go on your day. Yay. And like, wow, I get to see him tonight, or I get to hang out with my best friend today. And then when you get deep in a relationship, then you start saying these spirit killing comments like, hurry up. Oh, how many times I got to tell you? That's you change the relationship routine from, I'm just so excited to see you, to now, yep, that honeymoon phase, Sharon, yes. And so, but you can allow, if you do that, you're going to allow the laziness and the lack of creativity to hurt your relationship. So try some new things together. Somebody can take the responsibility of having the fun and creative things in the relationship and activities that you can do together. But break up that relationship routine. Don't allow yourself to fall into that now you're taking the relationship for granted, and that's what it feels like. Has it ever happened to anybody where you feel like, oh, now this person just takes me for granted? And that's happened to me on both a relationship and a friendship level, where this person now just doesn't respect who I am, and they're just taking me for granted. And that same principle applies not only to relationships, but to work teams. It's, if you always meet in the same place, have the same conversation the same way, and you let the same people monopolize the discussion, then you're never going to move forward. So if you're in a work situation and you know that there's someone who's quiet and doesn't speak, encourage them, call them out and say, hey, I'd like to hear from you more. So now that person feels like, okay, so they do care about what I say. They want to hear from me. You're not allowing someone else to monopolize the whole conversation. So these work in every area, not just with relationships, but with your work team, etc. And the last way to have a transformational relationship is use conscious acts of kindness. Conscious acts of kindness. And so, as we talked about earlier, it doesn't cost anything to be kind to somebody. It doesn't really take more than you can text somebody and just say, I'm thinking of you. You don't have to spend a whole bunch of money. It's a random act of kindness is, it's just random and it's consistent, but but people are going to remember that. I remember when people were kind to me. I had someone the other day buy my lunch because they knew I took care of my mom. And I walked in and they were like, I got you today. I'm paying for your lunch. I was like, you don't have to do that. And they was like, no, because I know you take care of your mom, so here's this. Just random act of kindness. And so Dr. Theodore Rubin said, kindness is more important than wisdom. And the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. I like that. So you're like, well, I don't know where to start. How can I show acts of kindness? Well, treat your partner or your team member the way you treat your best friend. Same consideration. Remember the things that are important to your friend. Like if someone's birthday means a lot to them, or they are, their favorite color is red or something like that. Remember what's important to your friend. Do things for your friend or partner without being asked. Remember your promises. If you say you're going to do something, be a person of your word. Do what you say and say what you do. And avoid sarcasms and put downs. And the most important and probably the fastest conscious act of showing kindness is showing appreciation. Now I have a friend that every time he goes somewhere and someone helps him, he always says, I appreciate you. And you should see the way people's face light up just for him saying, I appreciate you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate you. People crave to know that they're appreciated, and it never gets old to people. People never get tired of hearing that they're appreciated. And so the final thought is, before I close, is love does not make the world go round, but it sure makes the ride a lot more fun. So tell me what you think about the difference between transactional relationships and transformative relationships. Are these keys to success? Are these things that can help you have that success in that relationship? Again, the key factor is, that's right, Sharon, to drive through, pay for the car behind you, those random acts of kindness. But also the thing too is, this also shows that when you're able to do your own deep work, when you're able to know yourself and love yourself, when you become a transformative person, then you in turn start becoming and having transformative relationships, because you've changed, and then the relationships around you will change. So I want to thank y'all today for joining me. We're right on time. So I'm going to end, but I always end with two things. I always end with love notes. First love note is for Kenneth Garrett. If you see my shirt, Mindset versus State of Mind. He is an awesome man. He has a tremendous story. I've enjoyed getting to know him and know his story. So Kenneth Garrett with Mindset versus State of Mind. I'm giving the love note to you. Wearing your gear today. I believe in supporting small businesses, so please support him as well. And my other love note goes to my baby sister, Deshawn Anderson, who, because of her post, thank you, Sharon. If you're interested, I can put his link in the chat when I send this out, so that you can contact him as well, because it is Mindset versus State of Mind. But Deshawn Anderson, I just love her. She was the person who actually made the post that made me think about the difference between having a transactional and a transformative relationship. She's always extremely supportive of me. She calls me her big sis, and I love her. So I want to give her that love note today. And I also want to just give love notes to all of you, whether you're watching me live or you're watching me later. I appreciate all of you. And if you have suggestions about upcoming topics that you'd like for us to discuss, please let me know. I'm open to hear them. And again, I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. Do take the time to be kind to someone. Reach out to friends, particularly the elderly. Let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know that you love them. Check on your strong friends. We get tired too. And so I hope everyone has a wonderful and blessed weekend. I see y'all next week. Bye.